Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to learn how to make this beautiful mesh dress. The mesh detail is in the midsection of the dress and it looks very gorgeous. It has a back lace up as you can see in this video, and if you would like the written pattern, it's already available on all my online shops. So let's get started. So today I am using this yarn. It's called Flores. Each ball is 50 grams and it's a 6-ply yarn. This is what I'm going to use today, and it's the same exact color that I am using, white. I am also using a 3.5mm crochet hook, pair of scissors, some stitch markers. These are optional, but if you have them, just keep them around because you never know when you'll need them. And then you also need a measuring tape, and that's basically it. So I'm going to do a center pull just so that my ball of yarn doesn't move around the whole time. And I'm going to start off with a slip knot. You're going to roll over your yarn like this, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, and yarn over, pull through, and then pull on the tail. That's how I do my slip knot. And then you're going to make a chain that runs from the base of your breast all the way to the center of your breast. So for me, I'm going to consider 16 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I am making for a size small and I have done a total of 16 chains. For all the other sizes, just look on the screen and follow the instructions as needed for you to get your desired size. So I have 16 chains, or whatever number of chains that you've done for your starting chain, and you're going to go into the 4th chain from the hook. So you're going to count from this one, 1, 2, 3, and into the 4th you're going to place a double crochet. You're going to double crochet all the way across your starting chain until you get to your second last chain. Alright, so I've just placed a double crochet in the second last chain and I have only one chain left. I am going to go into that last chain with a total of 3 double crochets. Chain 2 and 3 more double crochets into the same exact chain. This will bring us to the opposite side of our starting chain. As you can see here, it's like we've moved all the way around like this. Now we are going to work on the back side of our foundation chain. You're going to go into each and every chain along the starting chain, but also make sure you weave in this tail as you go. So I'm going to hold the tail along the starting chain and I go into each and every chain with a double crochet, only 1 double crochet into each and every chain, but also wrapping around the tail that we left behind at the beginning of the row. So you can see I'm working around that tail so that I weave it in as I go. Continue to double crochet once in each and every chain. All right, so we are on the second last chain here, and you're going to make sure that you go into the last stitch, which should appear like a chain 3. Make sure you go into it with a double crochet, and that marks the end of row 1. This is what your work will look like. For row 2, you're going to make a chain of 3, which counts as a double crochet. Turn your work, and you're going to go into the next stitch with a double crochet. The chain of 3 is attached to the very first stitch, so you don't go into the first stitch because it has already gotten the chain of 3 that counts as a double crochet. Continue to double crochet in each and every stitch across until you place a double crochet in the double crochet before the chain 2 space at the top of the bra cup. All right, I am currently placing a double crochet into the stitch before the chain 2 space, and then into the chain 2 space this time around I am going to place 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets into the same exact chain space. So 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets into the chain 2 space. And then you're going to go ahead and place 1 double crochet in each of the remaining stitches until the end of the row. All right, so you should notice that you're working in a U shape. I've come to the end, and make sure you place a double crochet on top of the chain 3 at the end of the previous row. So this is what we have. You'll notice that you're working in a U shape, something like this. You keep going back and forth. That's how our rows look like. We're going to just repeat row 2 again and again until we have enough coverage for our bra cup. I'll be recommending a number of rows. So you chain 3, turn your work, double crochet into the next stitch, and continue to double crochet once in each and every stitch until you get to the chain 2 space, which will get 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets into the space, and then you continue to place 1 double crochet in each of the remaining stitches until the end of the row. I will be recommending a number of rows to make for the different sizes, but make sure that you keep trying on your piece as you go, so that you can decide for yourself how much coverage you want for yourself. There are people who would like maybe their cleavage out, and then there are those people who want a modest kind of fitting. So as you work, don't take my word for gospel truth. Keep trying on your top and make sure you get the coverage you want for yourself. And yeah, I'm just going to repeat row 2 until I get my desired coverage, and I'll be back to let you know, to show you what mine will look like after some more rows. All right, so I ended up with a total of 7 rows, as you can see here. Now we're going to go ahead and create a mesh row. For all the other sizes, just check on the screen and see how many rows that you're going to do for yourself. Now, for the mesh row, you're going to make a chain of 4, which counts as a double crochet, chain 1, turn your work, skip 1 stitch, and double crochet into the next stitch. The chain of 4 is attached to the very first stitch, so you skip this one. Chain 1, skip 1 stitch, double crochet into the next. Chain 1, skip a stitch, and double crochet into the next. So you're going to repeat that all the way up until you get to the top of the bra cup. All right, so we're coming to the top of the bra cup. This is what we have. And now I'm going to make a chain of 1, skip the last stitch, and into the chain 2 space I will just place 2 double crochets, chain 2 and 2 more double crochets. And then we're going to go onto the opposite side and repeat the same exact process as we've done here. So chain 1, skip 1 stitch and double crochet into the next. Chain 1, skip 1 stitch, double crochet into the next, and go all the way down until the end of the row, creating a mesh pattern. So we're coming to the end of the row. I'm going to make a chain of 1, skip the second last stitch, and double crochet on top of the chain 3 at the end of the previous row. And this is what you're going to have. Now we're going to go ahead and clean up the mesh row with a single crochet row. So you're going to make a chain of 1 and turn your work. And you're going to go into each and every chain 1 space with 2 single crochets. So into the next chain 1 space, 2 single crochets, and you're going to do that all the way up until the top of the bra cup. Alright, so we've come to the top and we've just placed 2 single crochets in the last chain 1 space here. Now you're going to go into these stitches, each of them with 1 single crochet, and then into the chain 2 space you're going to place 1 single crochet there, and then single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. You can go ahead and use a stitch marker to mark the stitch that you just placed in the chain 2 space, because that will be the exact middle of the bra cup. And then you're going to go back to 2 single crochets in each and every chain 1 space. Alright, so we have placed 2 single crochets in the last chain space, and this is what your bra cup will look like. You can stretch it out a little bit, but make sure it's not flat. This is the reason why it creates room for the bust coverage. So this is what we have. And then you're going to make a chain of 1 and cut your yarn, and we're going to repeat the same exact process that we've done for our very first bra cup onto the second one. So create an identical bra cup to this one so that you have 2 of them, and I'll meet you back when I have both of mine ready. Alright, so we're done with our second bra cup, as you can see. So you'll have 2 identical bra cups, but after the first one you're not going to cut your yarn. We're going to take a measurement at the base of any of the bra cups because we have the same exact thing going on. We're going to take the measurement at the base of the bra cup, well stretched a bit, don't overstretch it. So I'll consider 9 inches at the base of the bra cup for mine, and we're going to multiply it by 2 because we have 2 bra cups. So that will be a total of 18 inches across both bra cups. And then you're going to subtract it from your rib cage circumference. So the rib cage circumference that I am considering is 28 inches minus the 19 that I have here, which will be, all right, so 28 inches minus the 19 inches that we've gotten across both bra cups, that is a total of 9 inches. And that 9 inches, you're going to divide it by 2 and make an extension on each end of the bra cup. So before we go ahead, I'm going to use this tail to attach the 2 bra cups together. I'm going to go into this stitch and the stitch on this side. Make sure both bra cups are facing the right side. So I'm going to just make a chain and attach the 2 bra cups together. So the 9 inches that we are left with, you're going to divide it by 2 and you're going to get a total of 4.5. So we are going to all right, so after joining your 2 bra cups together, remember we have a total of 19 inches at the base of the 2 bra cups. So you're going to get your rib cage circumference minus 4 inches, whatever your rib cage circumference is. So mine is 28 inches minus 4 inches, which is going to be a total of 24 inches. And then you're going to get this measurement at the base of the 2 bra cups, which is 19 inches, and then subtract that measurement from the 24 inches or whatever result that you got from the rib cage circumference minus the 4 inches. So that is 19 minus 24, which is a total of 5 inches. Now that measurement, you're going to divide it by 2. 5 divided by 2 is 2.5, and that is that little extension that we are going to make on this side. So 2.5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're going to make a chain of 2.5 or whatever number that you ended up with. So for me, I'm going to do a total of 15 chains. And I'm going to make a chain of 1, cut my yarn, and create another extension on the opposite side. So we have this one, and then you're going to go ahead and make the same exact number of chains on this side. You're going to attach your yarn in the corner. And make your 15 chains or whatever number that you did on this side. So I have my 15 chains. You're going to add 1 more chain, and now we're going to make a single crochet row. You're going to go into the second chain from the hook and place a single crochet. Continue to single crochet once in each and every chain until you get to the body of the bra cup. All right, so I have placed 1 single crochet in each and every chain, and now I'm going to go ahead and work across the base of the bra cups with single crochet stitches still. So you're going to go into the single crochet row and place 1 single crochet. And in each double crochet row, you're going to place 2 single crochets all the way across. 2 single crochets in each double crochet row all the way across. So when you get to the middle of the 2 bra cups, I have just placed my 2 single crochets in the double crochet row. You're going to go into the single crochet row, the last row of the first bra cup, and place a single crochet, and then single crochet into the first single crochet row of the second bra cup, and then single crochet twice in each and every double crochet row of the second bra cup. All right, so we've made it to the end of the second bra cup. As you can see here, we're going to go into the last row, which is the single crochet row of the second bra cup, and then continue to place one single crochet in each and every chain. Remember the extension chain that we created on the opposite side. We're going to go into each and every chain. All right, so we are placing our last single crochet stitch. So we've made it all the way across. And if we take a measurement here, you'll have 4 inches less than your rib cage circumference. So as I had mentioned, the rib cage circumference that I am considering is 28 inches. And if I take a measurement here, I should get to around 24 inches when stretched, as you can see here. So make sure you have that. And now we're going to start creating the mesh pattern for a few rows downwards before we get into the block design of the dress. So you're going to make a chain of 4, which counts as a double crochet chain 1. Turn your work. This chain of 4 is attached to the very first stitch. So you're going to skip the next stitch and double crochet into the next. Chain 1, skip 1 stitch and double crochet into the next. So remember the mesh pattern that we created here. We are going to do the same exact thing for this row. Chain 1, skip 1 stitch and 1 double crochet into the next, guys. Continue to create the mesh pattern all the way across. Chain 1, skip 1 stitch, double crochet into the next. So repeat that all the way across until the end of the row. So we are working across both bra cups. This time round we are going all the way across until the second extension. And this is what you should have. Alright, so we've come to the end of row 1, working across both bra cups with the mesh pattern. You're going to make a chain of 1 and go into the very last stitch with a double crochet. And this is what you'll have. Now we're going to make a chain of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, which counts as a double crochet chain 1. And we're going to continue with the mesh pattern. So go into the next double crochet with 1 double crochet, chain 1, double crochet into the next double crochet, chain 1, double crochet into the next double crochet. So that is going to continue to create a mesh pattern. So I'm going to repeat that until the end of the row, and I'll meet you back at this end. All right, so we've come to the end of row 2 of mesh, and I'm chaining 1, skipping 1 chain and double crocheting into the next chain of the last chain 4 of the previous row. So we're going to repeat row 2 of the mesh pattern, this row that I just created. You're going to repeat it until you get the length of the mesh that you want for your piece. Alright, so once you're done with your 8 rows or whatever number of rows that you decide to make for the mesh pattern before we go onto the solid part, remember the 4 inches that we subtracted from our rib cage. We are going to bring them back. So you're going to make a chain of 4 inches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, so I have my chain of 4 inches and I've done a total of 20 chains, and you're going to fold it over and slip stitch onto the opposite side of the bottom band to form a round. So make sure that your chain is not twisted. And you're going to get the opposite side, and you're going to slip stitch into the third chain of the first chain 4 of the row. That way we have created a round, as you can see here. And then we're going to start working double crochet stitches. So you're going to make a chain of 3 and turn your work. Double crochet once in each and every chain, the chain that we just created at the back of the dress. So when you get to the end of the chain, you're going to go into each and every stitch with 1 double crochet, and each chain 1 space with 1 double crochet. So just go into each and every double crochet with a double crochet, and in each chain 1 space 1 double crochet, all the way around until you get back to the beginning of the round. Alright, so we've come to the end of the round, and I've just placed a double crochet in the last chain 1 space of the round, and you're going to make a slip stitch into the very first chain 3 on top of the chain 3 at the beginning of the round. So you're going to place your work like this, and at this point I'm at the waistline level. If you haven't yet reached the waistline level, then you're going to do some more rounds of double crochet stitches, plain double crochet stitches, until you get to your waistline. So once you get there, you're going to place your work like this, and then you're going to get 2 stitch markers, and you're going to mark the side stitches of your dress. Mark one side here, 1 stitch on this side and 1 stitch on the opposite side. Alright, so after marking these 2 stitches, we're going to make a small change here. Instead of a slip stitch, you're going to remove the slip stitch, and after your last stitch, we're just going to go around and around without turning. So after your last stitch here, you're going to go on top of the chain 3 and place a double crochet. That way we are not going to create a seam line. We shall close up this gap later on when you are weaving in the ends. So you're going to continue to double crochet in each stitch until you get to the stitch marker. One double crochet in each and every stitch from the previous round. Remember, at this point we are at the waistline level, and now we are going to start creating increases at the points that we just marked on the sides of the dress in order to accommodate our hip circumference. So from now on, we are going to be working in the same direction as the previous round. Alright, so we've reached the stitch with the stitch marker. You're going to remove your stitch marker and place 3 double crochets into that stitch that had the stitch marker. That's the point of increase. And then you're going to mark the middle double crochet of the 3 stitches that we just placed. And then continue to double crochet once in each and every stitch until you get to your second stitch marker. Alright, so we've reached the second stitch marker. You're going to remove it, and into that stitch you're going to place 3 double crochets, and then place the stitch marker into the middle double crochet of the 3 stitches from the 3 stitches that we just placed. So continue to double crochet once in each and every stitch until you get to your next stitch marker where you will do the same exact thing. So whenever you reach the stitch marker, create an increase at that point. And since we don't have a seam line, once you get to the end of the round, you just continue. As you're going to see here, I'm almost coming to the end of the round. And you're just going to go into each and every stitch and continue normally. We are not going to create any seam line at the back of the dress. As I had mentioned, we shall close up this gap. This is the only gap you will have, but other than that, you won't be having a seam line, and everything will blend in so well when you keep working more and more rounds. So that's all that we are going to do until the base of your piece measures half of your hip circumference when slightly stretched. So right now I have about 13 inches without stretching. When I slightly stretch, I go to about 15 inches, and I want half of the hip circumference, which is 40 inches. So half of 40 is 20. So I'm going to keep working this round that I've just showed you, keeping on increasing at these points until this can stretch to my intended hip circumference divided by 2. So 40 divided by 2 is 20. So my main aim is to have 20 inches at the base of this piece when slightly stretched. Don't overstretch your work. Slight stretch. So keep working that round until you can slightly stretch your work to half of the hip circumference that you're considering. Right, after creating my increase rows, I just continue to make plain rounds, actually increase rounds. I continue to make plain rounds without any increases until I got the length of the dress that I wanted. And now I'm coming to the end of the very last round, and you can see I'm 1 stitch away from the very first stitch of the round. My stitch marker is here. You're going to remove it and skip over that 1 stitch and go into the stitch that had the stitch marker and place a slip stitch, and then you're going to make a chain of 1 and cut your yarn. So you're going to leave behind a tail to weave in, And that's basically it for the bottom part of the dress. You'll find that you've ended your round at the back of the dress, as you can see here. Remember where we placed our stitch marker in the single crochet that went into the chain two space of the backup. You're going to remove that stitch marker and we're going to attach our yarn to create the strap. Alright, so attach your yarn, make a chain of 3 and double crochet into the same exact stitch, and then chain 3, double crochet in the middle of the 2 stitches from the row below. So the chain of 3 counts as a stitch. Chain 3, double crochet in the middle space between the 2 stitches from the row below. That way your strap is going to keep growing until you get your desired length. So keep working this until you get your desired length of the strap. Alright, so I've made a strap that's long enough and I've done a total of 50 segments for my strap. I'm going to make a chain of 1 and cut my yarn, pull through, and repeat the same exact process for your second backup. As you can see here, we have a strap on this side. So we're going to attach our yarn into the middle stitch on top of the backup and repeat the same exact process for the second strap. Alright, so we have both our straps ready. Now we are going to lace up the back of our dress using the straps that we created. So our straps are here. You're going to turn your work onto the back side and we're going to lace it up the same exact way that we did for the bralette, for those people who tried out the bralette. So we are going to go in and out of a few rows of the mesh pattern at the back of the dress, creating an X at the back, and then skip a few rows and lace up the next row. So we keep creating this zigzag effect or an X effect at the back of the dress until you run out of the mesh rows, as you can see here. All right, when you finish lacing up at the back of the dress like this, you're also going to go into this stretch at the back of the dress. So find a way of continuing to lace up until you get to this point at the top of the very first row of double crochet stitches. And then you're going to locate the exact middle of that extension. Just fold over like this and you get the exact middle. And start from the middle, skip 2 stitches and go all the way to the side. And then you're going to pull through your strap so that it comes to the center back of your dress. I'll be attaching some images so that it makes sense. Just like that. And then you're going to do the same exact thing on this side. So start from the center, going all the way to the back of the side of the strap, and then you're going to pull your strap through just like this. So you're going to be able to gather this back side like this, and then you're going to create a knot at the back of the dress, and you'll be seeing the final look at the end of the video. So this is what the back is going to look like. This way we have created a snatched look in the waistline, but also gotten rid of the bulge around this area. So that's basically it, and that's what we have for our project. If you enjoyed this tutorial, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.